Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye. Bye. Let's get straight to this intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I appreciate the support. I'm very humbled by it. So it's 2026 and the thing to do, the only way to transition into gangsterism nowadays is to pass through the Los Angeles County Jail. It seems like that's the thing to do. It seems like all of a sudden, everybody done been to the LA County Jail, even cats that traditionally never been to LA, right? It's just a trip, man. I'm seeing a lot of things on social media, and a lot of people all of a sudden, the claim to fame is to have passed through the gates of the Los Angeles County Jail. Now, I, myself, Gunners Collective, have never been to LA County Jail. I've done time down south in Whittier, all up in LA, all up in the LA area with respect. Okay, no disrespect. There was some disrespect down there, but it wasn't coming out of my mouth. The only thing coming out of my mouth was Kyle. Fuck it. Ya estuvo, Kyle, listo, all that shit, right? And I never said ya estuvo to the enemiga. That just never happened, right? It was always, let's get it. Listo. Let's go, right? Ready. I seen an interview conducted with two individuals, and first and foremost, I'll say I respect these two guys. I have no disrespect. There's no disrespect coming towards them. I'm not going to call them out of their names. I'm not going to call them liars. I'm not going to say they're fabricating stories for the internet and just to look cool. I'm not going to say any of that because I respect these two dudes, and one of them, I respect his father just a little bit more, right? And I'll explain to you why. So the first individual I wanted to talk about is a Norteno from Washington named Top Rate Demon. He's a rapper, a white guy who has embraced the Norteno cause and has been embraced by that cause, right? I see him all over social media. I see him all over the internet, and he's doing his thing. There's no doubt about it. He has the look. He has the old school mentality. He has the strive for what he truly believes in, and that's his, his Norteno movement. Respects for that. I was once there. I understand the cause and everything that it entails, right? I understand the struggle, the true struggle, and all that, right? But at the same time, I see that this guy pulled up to no jumper. He's making his moves. He's doing what he wants to do. Hey, and can't no one speak upon how he's moving. Now, I have seen him, go out there to LA, out there in Los Angeles, because that seems to be the thing to do nowadays, and proclaim, hey, a Norteno is on the block. A Norteno is present in the city of Los Angeles. Now, does that give you brownie points? To people down south, no, because I'm going to keep it real. My nose itches, so I'm just going to scratch it while I'm talking. To keep it real, vatos down south could give a fuck less or care less if a Norteno is present in the city of LA. All they care about is any individual, whether it's north, south, east, or west, pulls up and treats their city with respect, treats those that are functioning in their city with respect. You cannot go to the city of LA or anywhere up north, Sacramento, Modesto, Merced, Fresno, Frisco. None of these spots can you go to and disrespect the people without some repercussions, right? Because if anyone hears you disrespecting or sees you doing so, there's probably going to be, it's going to go up. There's going to be some issues, some violence, and some problems. That's just a fact. That's everywhere in California. That's everywhere in the world. If you go over there wanting that smoke, you're going to get a whole lot of it. It's in abundance, especially in the city of Los Angeles. It's in abundance. But it's not every day that Southsiders, Southern raza, people from Southern California are paying attention to a dude walking around with the red shirt. Colors don't matter in certain areas, right? People are not automatically assuming you're a Norteno, so they're not tripping. Anyways, I seen Top Rate Demon floating around there, and then later on doubling back up north and saying, hey, I was all up in Southern California. I was all up in their mix, and no one was doing nothing. Okay, of course no one's doing anything if they don't know who the fuck you are and you're not down there gangbanging like that. If you go on no jumper and you go out out of the way to all these other places where there's security and where they're secure, and you're not in a barrio, guess what? No one's going to trip on you. You haven't crossed that threshold into a neighborhood that trips like that. You know, most of these cats are going to like Muscle Beach or downtown or places that a lot of Southsiders, even though there's Southsiders everywhere, they're not sweating people like that. And like I said, man, that old myth of every Sureño or every Southsider hates a Norteño is just a myth. They don't. They all have no interaction, no friction, no tension. They're not fucking tripping unless you're tripping. Now, there are those that have been incarcerated that know the game. And there are those like that Valto Bozo and certain other individuals that trip for whatever their fucking reasoning is, right? But you can't judge one whole group based upon a few bad apples or a few individuals that have disrespected in the past. Whatever your dislike or whatever your education instills to disrespect or hate Southsiders, that's on you, man. You know, you got to carry yourself with a bit of professionalism and understand that not everyone feels the same way about you. Anyways, no disrespect to that Valto top-rank demon, but he was wiggling in the city of Los Angeles. He has the receipts and the videos and all that to show it. Now, does that mean anything to a fucking real motherfucker? Nah, it doesn't. But to him, as long as he felt like he was doing something, that's all that really matters, Keno. Now, I seen an interview conducted with this guy where he said he did time in the Los Angeles County Jail. How long he was there, I'm not sure, right? I didn't get too deep into the video to recognize how long he did. But I'm going to be totally honest with you. If a Norteño is arrested down south in Southern California in LA, okay, if you're doing anything, if you're in possession of a firearm, if you're out there causing a disturbance, whatever it is that you get locked up for, yes, you will be taken just like anyone else to the LA County Jail. Once you are identified as a Norteño, I'm sure that they are going to process you, segregate you, and place you in high power, right? They're not going to place you in protective custody unless you ask for it. If you request protective custody, then of course they will segregate you from population. That's a fact, right? Anybody who requests it is going to get granted because you are now become a safety and security threat to that facility. So they have to, by law, segregate you. It's not going to happen all the time, and it might not happen in a timely manner. You might get put into a holding tank with a couple of individuals that feel some type of way, and you got to fight your fucking way up out of there. But to think that you're going to go on a GP yard or a module in LA County Jail as a functioning active Norteño, I don't care what that into hostilities entails within prison. That does not that doesn't transcend to the streets or even the jails, the county jails. County jails up north in Northern California are still segregated as far as Sureños, Southsiders, and Norteños, Northerners, right? It's just the way it is. Okay, until there's a huila that goes out saying this is the way it is and that's the way it is. But until then, you know, LA County Jail, Merced County Jail, Stanislaus County Jail, Fresno County Jail, all these county jails are going to be segregated from each other because it's going to go up. There's going to be some hostilities. There's no end to those hostilities. When you get to prison, it's even like that it's even like that in reception, still segregated. Once you get to a main line, a general population yard, their rules are different behind them walls, right? Then you have to function accordingly. Imagine that. Imagine going to county jail. You're getting off. You see each other. It's on site. Then you get to the reception. You see each other. It's on site. And then you get to the fucking pinta, a GP yard, a level 4, 180, where it's like, man, I'm ready to really get it. And it's not on site no more. Now, if you fucking make that move, you're on site, right? So anyways, this guy, Top Rank Demon, said he slid through the LA County Jail. Now, I'm not going to call him a liar whatsoever. If that's the case, that's the case. But I've been noticing a trend lately. I've been noticing a lot of Norteños and Bulldogs and people that traditionally don't go to LA County Jail. Now I want to talk about they slid through there like it's rites of passage. Like it's in order to become a gangster in California, you have to slide through the LA County Jail. Now, no disrespect to those who have been there, to that's their county. You know, I've heard it's one of the most dangerous situations you can find yourself in. You know, I heard those modules ain't no fucking joke. And I'm going to tell you right now, having been locked up with a lot of Southsiders from LA County, they're with the business, man. They gangbang for reals. Okay, their mentality of gangbanging is a lot different from other people's mentalities. And one thing about their arrogance, and I'll say yes, arrogance, and it's not to disrespect them, but they have an arrogant chip on their shoulder. They believe that LA is the mecca of gangbanging in the state of California, and that's just the way it is. And who are you to deny them? Who am I to deny them? There's a lot of dudes, a lot of barrios that have been around, a lot of hoods, cripping and blooding that have been around since before your gang was materialized or even established. That's just the truth. Okay. So a lot of their gang banging, a lot of their mind state, their education goes back 100 years. Their barrios have been around since the 20s and 30s and 40s, predating North and South. Just straight up barrios. That's just the truth, right? Mexicans in a hood for self-preservation and protection. They were doing their thing. Same thing with the brothers, man. The brothers have been having hoods, you know what I'm saying, for years and years and years, decades. That's just how LA is. It's a mix of all cultures, right? And whatever side the chip falls on, that's the side the chip falls on. And nobody's a punk. Everybody in LA got a little bit of thug in them. They might fight amongst each other, but I promise you this, they'll tear that bitch down, get them pissed, right? They'll tear it down. So this dude, Top Rank Demon, is basically saying he was in the LA County Jail. He slid through as a functioning, active Norteno, and nothing happened to him, right? Best believe if he was there, they set him in the high power or he didn't make it past the holding tank. You know, and that's not to say he requested protective custody or he was a punk or a sucker, nothing like that. You know, but the fact is, and the true fact is, those are things you don't want to speak on. Like, hey, bro, I was in the LA County Jail and they segregated me, but I'm with the shit. No, that if they segregated you, that means you had no action at anyone. They had no action at you, right? I'm not saying that he said that. I'm just saying common sense says if you go to LA County Jail, man, as a Norteño and you're able to slide through, that's because you wasn't in the close proximity of the enemy, man. Now, there's another individual that claims recently as well that he went to the LA County Jail. Now, this one I ain't never heard of. You know, that dude, Top Rank Demon, I give him his respect because he was down there in LA wiggling around. So it's feasible that he could have, feasible, that's a big word. Watch out. It is feasible that he could have got caught up and slid through the LA County Jail. That's a fact because he was down there moving around for about a month, right? That vato was moving around. Faye, I don't know if he ever went there, but Faye 300, the Fresno Bulldog, College Street, man, nothing but respects to him. Nothing major respects to Shorty, his father, Shorty Boy. Nothing but respects, right? But let me tell you a little bit about this dude. He claims in an interview with, I believe it is J-Ren TV, respects to them guys doing their thing, son and father, man. Can't do nothing but respect what they're doing and how they're doing it, right? But this guy claims that he was also in the LA County Jail. Again, it's like a trend. It's like the things to do. It's like a new TikTok fucking viral moment, right? It seems like in order to be a gangster in Northern and Central California, you have to have slid through the LA County Jail. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if that was the case back in my days, no can do, no siree. That would have been something off the table. For me, I'd have been like, nah, I'm cool. I'm just going to stick to Pokemon cards. Right? I'm not going to be a gangbanger because putting yourself in a situation that you cannot control is what it is. But saying, hey, man, basically, man, you ain't gangster enough if you don't slide through the LA County Jail. Well, like I said, you're not going to go on the GP side anyway. They're not going to put you in a module with 18th Street, so it doesn't matter, right? You just happen to go into a facility that housed in a whole different section a gang of Southsiders, right? So you can't get out like, man, I was in the LA County Jail. I did that. Did what? You ate a sandwich in the LA County Jail. Cool for you, right? Now, I'm not going to say any of these guys are punks and their stories are fabricated or fake because I don't know. But I know Faith 300 was talking about he went also to the LA County Jail. He slid through that motherfucker like, ooh, ooh, right? A Fresno Bulldog. Now, don't get it twisted. There have been stories put out there by verified, rectified, and sanctified Southsiders that have said that they actually were in the county jail with Northerners, dudes that were from Northern California that somehow slid through the cracks, right? And I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Look, I'm gonna tell you guys the truth, one good truth. I remember one time I was on the block, right? Now, this is way before the Merced County Jail, way before it was as political as it is now, right? There was no segregation. There was segregation of North and South if the cops knew, but there was no Norteños like fucking working out all day and only Northerners on the block and active block, and there was none of that. It was just kind of like paisas, Mexicanos, whites, blacks. It was like a GP yard, a little mix of everybody, right? Later on, because of the politics, they segregated North and just made it a Norteño pod, right? A block. But back then, it was a little bit of everyone. And I remember there was my boy Angel, you know what I'm saying, from my neighborhood. He's more paisa, but he's my boy, right? Active Norteño at the time, all that. And one of his primos from LA, they got caught up. Now, They was out there doing some stupid shit, got caught up. Angel was facing deportation at the time, man. That motherfucker done came back a million times, right? But he slid to a different building. So we were in the same block, but he was like on 2 block. I was on 3 block at the time, right? But his primo slid on our block. And I knew that he was from LA, and I knew that he was associated. He was a resident, right? He wasn't really a Sureño or Southsider, but he leaned more that way. He was just down visiting when he got caught up. But I knew the cat, and I knew that if he took his shirt off, he had some LA tattoos and some Dodger stuff and even some Sur Gang stuff, right? I knew that if the homies seen that shit, it was going to be bad. And based upon that, he was my homeboy's primo, and I knew he wasn't really functioning like that, but I knew that it could end bad for him. I'm saying I kind of covered for him. I was like, hey, bro, trip out. You already know what it is. He knew me. So he was like, yeah. I was like, just stay over here, bro. You need a request to get the fuck up out of here, or you're on your own. If you want to fight it out and everything, that's good. Then we're going to be on you. At that point, man, I'm asking you, you know what I'm saying? Do you want a pass or do you want to get the fuck? He took that pass. He said, nah, I'm cool. Next thing you know, he slid out to court and never courted back, right? I get it. But that motherfucker made it through the cracks, right? So there are situations where people will slide through your county jail from the opposite side. And, you know, there's dudes, I'm sure, from Northern California that are non-affiliated, but they're from San Francisco or Merced or wherever they're from, and they go to the LA County Jail. And best believe the Southsiders is going to be on them. But see, the difference between Norteños and Southsiders, there's no such thing as a resident up north. You're either a Norteño or you're not. And if you're a raza and you go to the prison system and you're from Northern California, you're going to function as a Norteño, and that's just the way it is, or you're going to get smashed on. You know what I mean? There is no in between. You're either a paisa or Norteño. And the paisas, you got to know Spanish A1 from day one. I'm just 10-5 aquí, pura. Just how it is. Anyways, this Cafe 300 at Bulldog swears up and down that he also slid through the LA County Jail. And to me, I'm just sitting back like, damn, all of a sudden, every fucking Norteño, every Southsider, I mean, every Bulldog has went to the LA County Jail. Like, is this like the new rites of passage? Is this the new thing, the new trend, right? That the only way to be a certified gang member or to be recognized and respected is to have slid through the LA County Jail? Because if that's the case, then I was never nothing, period. Because I never wanted to go to that motherfucker, and I never wanted to take the opportunity to go to that motherfucker, period, right? Let me tell you guys something. I went to Fred C. Nellis in the Youth Authority as a child, right? Right there on Whittier Boulevard. And I'm going to tell you right now, them Southsiders made every second of my time unagreeable. Okay? There was no peace time. There was no kickback time. You were always on your toes. They were always fucking coming with numbers. There was always buses pulling up of New Southerners from SRCC and Fossil and wherever else they were coming from, ready to get off where they were mad at. Like, it was always repetitive. It was never stopping. The Northerners had it bad. You know, I'm not going to say that we was bound down and being some sucker fishes, but it was just repetitive over and over. New Southerners every week. And they all wanted it. They all wanted that smoke. So you had to really stand your ground. There was no time like, man, I'm tired already. Nah, fuck, you better wake up. Gotta get up. They say you gotta get going. There's a couple camaradas of mine. Like, it was, that's just how it was, right? So having been and lived through that personally, having lived through that, I could tell you guys straight up right off the top, I don't want to go through that again. I would never want to go through that. I don't want no smoke. Our LA County Jail is one of the most dangerous county jails in the United States. I'm good. You don't need to show me for me to understand. I don't need to see that paperwork. I just believe you, bro. Oh, you said that? All right, right? I'm going to go ahead and believe that. I'm going to go ahead and chalk that one to the game. But these guys, these Northerners and Bulldogs, swear they went there and they got out untouched and nothing happened. I'm going to tell you right now, if that's the case, man, you were either segregated or sent to high power. High power being an area, a section of LA County Jail where people are single-celled and they're sent up there, man, because they have mitigating factors with their cases. They have high-profile cases, or they can't be on a general population yard for whatever reason. Not because they're suckers or anything, just because they can't, right? Now, if you remember Snoop from Northern Riders, he was sent up there. Maurice Vasquez, he was in high power. And he was right there. How do I know? Because I was actually on a phone call with someone who was on a phone call with him. And we had a discussion. At that time, he was right next door, celled up right next door to Shitty Cuz. Shitty Cuz being the guy who actually killed Nipsey Hussle. And I remember I was trying to set up an interview with Shitty Cuz, and I tried to, and Snoop was trying to facilitate that. This is back when we used to lightweight have any conversation, right? Before he was like, fuck Gunner. And he was trying to line that up for me. But at the same time, I was kind of at a situation where like, did I really want to interview Shitty because I felt like people would feel some type of way about that. Like I'm trying to defend him or anything. I was just trying to get that interview, man. I'm just going to keep it real. It never worked. It fell through. He was still had his ongoing court case, and I get it. Anyways, Faye 300 swears he was there. Now, look, let me tell you about Faye, man. I respect that little dude. That dude is this big, right? I respect him, though. I respect him. That motherfucker got a muzzle. He got a muzzle on that, right? He got a tight, just, I be getting on TikTok. I sliding through his live sometimes, right? Every time. I'm just getting in there to peep gay, man, see what these motherfuckers are talking about, right? But I get in there, and that fool, he makes it a point to recognize me and be like, hey, politics to the side, dog. Politics to the side, man. You know what I'm saying? You fuck with my dad, so that's cool and shit, but you know what it is. I know what it is, bro. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. What it is you're a youngster. You're a youngster and you feel you have something to prove to cats. You ain't got nothing to prove. You ain't got to be in the LA County jail. You ain't got to be bulldogging it. I fuck with a lot of good, righteous F-14 dogs, right? Real bulldogs, man. And, you know what I'm saying? Your name has been brought up a couple times, man, and it's been all love, right? And your dad was definitely as real as it fucking comes and it gets. And I did time, and he was right there in that same place that I'm talking about, Nellis, with me, man. And Shorty was nothing short of a real one. So I respect your father, man. You know what I'm saying? All that, hey, man, politics aside, bro, I don't play politics. I don't do that. I'm a civilian, man. If you feel some type of way about me, let me know. You know what I'm saying? But you're this big, brother. You know what I'm saying? You're this big, man. And that's that. You know, that's just respectful. I'm just keeping it real. You're this big, bro. You know what I'm saying? I got parts on my body, man, and I'm not saying my legs that are bigger than you, bro. For real. Anyways, with that being said, what do you guys think, man? Nortenos and Bulldogs sliding through LA County jail. Do you think it's the truth or do you think it's just for clout? I don't know, man. I'm not going to disrespect those guys and say that they're lying. Not at all, right? Because if it's their story and they're going to tell it. But, man, that's crazy. Back in my days, you never heard Nortenos talking about, oh, I was in LA County jail. Like, nah. Hey, guess what? I'm trying to stay the fuck away from LA County jail. Hell yeah. All right. Let me know what you guys think. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive for what I truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. Now, I will say this. That doesn't mean that Norteno hasn't slid through LA County jail once upon a time or that they're not eligible to do it. Anyone could go, right? Whatever happens, happens, though. This video is sponsored by Barrio Liquors out there in Turlock, California. If you're ever in the area, slide on through, man. Get you something cold to drink and respect the fact, man, that's a small business owner right there. Show him some respect, man. He's doing what he does for the community. Also, by Sticks and Stones Yard Service out there in the Arizona area. Google him, look him up, man. If you are in the area of him and you need something done to your yard, help the homeboy out. Small business owners, we need you. This is the gun. Bang, bang. I said bang, bang. I can't even get a bang, bang around here.